Another thing is that you have to have, in many states, you can't have new evidence. It has to be old evidence. There are a lot of cases where the witnesses decide, hell, I'm killing this guy. I don't want to do that. I think I'll tell the truth. And they recant their testimony. That doesn't help. The judge says, well, he just felt bad, so he recanted, but he's not telling the truth now. He told the truth then when he was under oath. It's hard to get an appeal, and it's hard to win an appeal. You gotta remember that when you appeal, it's a judge saying something against another judge, an attorney saying something against another attorney. They don't do that. Judges do not like to say other judges are bad, even when they are, even if they're good. That's another problem with our system. The good cops don't do anything about the bad cops. The good judges don't do anything about the bad judges. The good prosecutors don't do anything about the bad prosecutors. The good attorneys don't do anything about the bad attorneys. It's as simple as that. And everybody's afraid of the judges. There's a guy that exposed some judges, and he had to leave the country and get asylum in Belgium. Look up Leo Sachs, Dr. Sachs, and his story will scare the hell out of you, because it shows how bad our system is. You can check with Google. You can find out all about police brutality. You can find out all about innocent people in prison. You can go to YouTube, and YouTube has all kinds of information that backs up what I say. So, I hope you do check. But let's get back to our poor guy on death row. Death row is hell. My next segment is going to be called Death Row Blues, which is written by a prison inmate who's on death row in San Quentin. But you are in prison for the rest of your life. You don't know when your life will end, because you don't know when the execution date will be. You get an execution date, the appeal will go through and get a stay of execution, and the stay will be lifted, and it's horrible. Google Troy Davis. He's in Georgia. But this is one reason why I'm against the death penalty. Too many innocent people are being murdered by the state. And the case I just told you about, it was a composite of the different stories I've seen and heard. Well, seen because I read them. I didn't meet with the prisoners involved. But in many cases they have all kinds of proof. Amos King was murdered by, I believe it was the state of California. He'd been on death row for over 30 years. All those 30 years he said he was innocent. Finally, when DNA got better and towards near the time of his execution, they tested his DNA. First of all, they couldn't find all the samples. They were, quote, lost, unquote. And then they said that they didn't say either way. So he was executed. Now, to me, the chances are it's not his DNA in the case. That's enough to get him at least off of death row and to investigate. What we need is a separate department of the United States that investigates claims of innocence, has the lawyers take care of all the paperwork at no cost to the person on death row or even in prison, and then have a separate court, independent from the rest of the judiciary, with people who don't have buddies in the court system who are crooked. People who are not afraid to say the judge blew it, the prosecutor blew it, the cops blew it. And if we do that, maybe we can get some of these innocent people out of prison. All of a sudden, you may have less than 2 million people in prison. But even that's too many. Most of your prisoners don't belong in prison. Many are mentally ill and belong in institutions, but they close the institutions and put these people in prison. You'll hear more about that in these stories that I have. These are stories from inmates. I'm not saying they're all true, but I'm saying that there's evidence that backs most of them up. They say that every prisoner says he's innocent. Problem is that 10% of them, or 15%, maybe even 20%, are really innocent. In death row, innocent prisoners are murdered by the states and federal government all the time. Mostly in Texas. I would say in Texas probably more than half of the people on death row are innocent. But they don't care. Do you care? The odds are you probably don't care either. Why am I telling you this? Because I hope that you realize the problems we have and that you will care. And you'll get mad enough to do something about it. Our system has a problem. Our system needs to be changed. So, let's change it. Thank you. And I hope you watch more of my little shows I'm doing. Have a good day.